Did you know I prayed the day
Uh, no, don't hit,
I
don't hit, don't
dash?
hit.
No, did it hit?
Oh
Oh,
no.
dude.
I stream. I beat the ninth remembrance boss, and now I'm going to beat the final boss.
Getting dicked down by PVC, but by V. There's no way. Took the same. Wait, there's dialogue in this.
Fit the same two characters.
No. Wait, it's gonna. It doesn't matter now. Yeah.
I didn't think that nigga be the crazy time, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah, it was fucked up ever since.
Only picked these two because they look like, you know, rival characters.
I mean, technically they are. It's just that I think Jin is stronger.
Well, are they real brothers though?
Uh, I really don't know. I think they grew up in the same orphanage. I really don't know.
All right.
Enjoying my day.
Sorry.
Save time.
No.
Oh, let's go! Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm
So
gonna take a
stream. I
break.
beat
I'm
all
gonna take
nine
a little.
remembrance bosses.
I'm gonna take a little break real quick.
Okay.
I just beat the Skidoo tree
But
out of
yeah,
the
this game got potential. I might accidentally fight it just to practice this game.
Yeah, honestly, top fighters.
Yeah, anything. But I'm gonna say I'm about to delete this shit right now. If you do it, I'll do it.
Really?
Yep, let's go.
Try Coinbase. Coinbase simplifies buying, selling. The demigods of Elden Ring. 12-ish of the most important characters in the game
across the lands between. How much of it is actually important, and what do you need to know for the DLC? Well, today we'll be briefly explaining each of the demigods, so you at least have an idea of what's going on.
But can I say you're welcome?
Yeah, the DLC is $40. What the fuck?
What the hell? Say, don't make me farm you, bruh. Oh, you fucks. That is sick. Oh, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, dang. That's unfortunate.
Solely on the demigods, so we will not be delving into any of those related to the demigods like Godfrey or Renala, with two exceptions. Marika and Radagon, as they are the parents of the demigods, and I think it's important to have some understanding of them to better understand the demigods. So let's briefly go over both of them. Marika, an outsider to the lands between, was one day chosen to be a god. Elected as an Empyrean, Marika was chosen as one of the few people that could succeed the current god to beckon in the new age. And that's exactly what she did, creating a golden age and a golden order to govern that age. She envisioned an age free from death, and as such, one of her first actions was to pluck the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring and give it to her shadow half-brother Malekith to guard. She would then take a consort in the warrior Hora Lu, known for his strength ruthlessness. However, this name and title was not fit for a ruler, so Orlu took the name of Godfrey and became the first Elden Lord. Together, they would conquer the majority of the lands between and have 3 children, Godwyn the Golden and the Omen twins Morgoth and Moog. However, their partnership would not last forever, as after defeating his final foe, Godwyn's eyes would lose their sheen, and he would be robbed of the Grace of Gold. He was told to roam the Badlands outside the lands between and to die over and over again until his grace was returned to him. Marika would then take her second consort in Radagon, stealing him away from Rennala and their children, Ranni, Rykard, and Radon. With the partnership between Radagon and Marika, these 3 would be elevated to demigod status. Radagon and Marika would have at least 2 children together, Malenia and Mikola, but these 2 would be more conflicted because Marika and Radagon were indeed one person. Sometime later, a piece of the Ruin of Death was stolen, and it was given to the Black Knife Assassins to carry out the Night of Black Knives, where they would assassinate Godwyn the Golden. This assassination would drive Marika to the brink of sanity, and she would ultimately shatter the Elden Ring with her hammer. This would obviously not sit well with the Greater Will or the Elden Beast, and as such, she was imprisoned in the Erdtree and essentially crucified on a runar. The shattering would lead to great ruins becoming available to the demigods, and it would also return grace to the Tarnished, such as Godfrey and our Tarnished. And now we can get into the demigods. The first demigod we must talk about is the firstborn, Godwyn the Golden. Born to Marika and Godfrey, Godwyn the Golden was beloved by many and seen as a hero by just as many. He is credited with playing a major role in repelling the ancient dragons from Leyendell by defeating Cordyceps in battle and then befriending the dragon. This actually led to the ancient dragon cult being founded in Leyendell, which would create the Dragonic Tree Sentinels and others. However, Godwyn was not beloved by all. As the poster child of the Golden Order, Godwyn drew the ire of those who opposed the Order and the Erdtree itself. One of these individuals was his half-sister Ranni, who we will be talking about in a little bit. Ranni would orchestrate the assassination of Godwyn using the Black Knife Assassins with blades imbued with the Ruin of Death. This would of course result in Godwyn's death, but he wouldn't truly die. At the same time of Godwyn's assassination, Ranni killed herself, leading to both suffering a half-death, with Godwyn's soul dying and Ranni's body dying. Godwyn's body was buried in the roots of the Erdtree, and an issue soon became apparent. With no soul, Godwyn's body was unable to die a true death, causing the death within him to fester and produce deathblight. This disfigured Godwyn's body beyond all recognition, and soon the deathblight began to spread through the lands between. Godwyn's death was also a major catalyst for the Shattering. After Godwyn, Marika and Godfrey would have a set of twins, Morgoth and Moog. But these twins had an ill-fated birth, as both were born as omens, which are creatures covered in twisting horns that are outright rejected by the Erdtree. Most omen have their horns cut off and are thrown out of Leyendell, but those of noble descent get a much nicer fate, being imprisoned to the sewers below Leyendell for their entire life. This rejection by the Erdtree sat differently for the 2 twins. Morgoth wanted to prove himself to the tree and swore fealty despite its rejection. He would prove his loyalty by sealing his cursed blood in a blade which would sit hidden within the wooden staff he carried. Beyond that, he doesn't do much until the Shattering, where, like all the other demigods, he would claim a great ruin from the Elden Ring before claiming the throne of Leyendell. This was not done out of selfishness, but instead so he could protect the Erdtree. Even after it rejected him, he protected the Erdtree from all attackers, including his fellow demigods such as Radon. At some point, and for some reason, he took on the moniker of Margit the Fell, and used that name to rule the capital city and lead the Knights Cavalry. Morgoth's loyalty to the Erdtree is by far his most notable attribute. Even during the story and up until his death, he swears its protection, finally attaining the validation he sought from it upon his death. Mog, on the other hand, said nah, fuck that shit, and found a different god to commune with deep in the subterranean shunning grounds, the Formless Mother, who essentially set Mog's accursed blood on fire, allowing him to use blood flame magic. During the Shattering, Mog escaped the subterranean shunning grounds to claim a great rune and assumed the title of Lord of Blood. Around the same time, he developed the Mogwyn's Palace underground and started to recruit for his own army. All of this was part of an attempt to take the throne and become the Elden Lord, but he was still missing one piece, a consort. See, Mog himself was not an Empyrean, meaning he was not fit for godhood and could not become Elden Lord without an Empyrean consort. After a Shattering, there was a number of options, but one was far more vulnerable than the rest, Mikola. So Mog traveled to the Erdtree to pluck his infantry brother from his cocoon in the hopes of feeding his half-brother his own blood to grow him into a god. Mog would also employ a band of Tarnished known as the Bloody Finger. We see them as the NPCs that can be encountered during Yura's questline. There's also this other Mog, but I don't know exactly what that's about. So let's just move on to our next set of demigods, Radagon and Renala's children. As I already stated, we're not going to be going over Renala in this video because she is not a demigod, but all three of her children, Ranni, Radon, and Rykard, are. Let's get started with the most important one, Ranni. We have a lot going on here because she has a ton of lore and also a lot of in-game story as well. Ranni was born as the youngest child to Radagon and Renala. Born as an Empyrean, she had the potential to become the next ruler of the Lands Between after Marika. She was even chosen by the Two Fingers as a potential successor, and was gifted a shadow in the form of Blyad, who was raised as a foster brother to Ranni. The two grew up playing together, growing close while under the watch of Egi the Blacksmith. At some point, she was led by Renala to find her Dark Moon, and later found a snowy crone in the woods that we know as the Snow Witch. This witch would go on to become her mentor in secret and taught Ranni a lot about cold sorceries which worked well with her Dark Moon. Later on, Radagon would leave Renala to return to Marika, becoming Elden Lord. This would catapult Ranni and her siblings to the status of demigods, while also greatly hurting Renala, causing her to kind of go insane. Ranni was not happy about being a demigod, nor did she like her Empyrean blood, as she did not wish to become a puppet for the greater will. She wished to escape her fate. So one day she stole a piece of destined death from Malekith and imbued the rune into the blades of the Black Knight assassins. On the night of Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was assassinated, and Ranni took her own life simultaneously. For Godwyn, this meant the death of his soul. For Ranni, it meant the death of her body, allowing her soul to remain in the Lands Between and find a new home in a doll inspired by the Snowy Crone. Some fans theorize that part of why Ranni turned away from the Golden Order was the separation of Radagon and Renala, as she appeared to be
This is
fighting with
so
her brother, and
dumb.
the separation basically destroyed the woman
Really
she
nothing
knew.
to do.
While this would make a lot of sense, I had a hard time finding actual evidence of this. So if I'm missing something here, please let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, Godwyn's death was a major trigger of the Shattering, and despite orchestrating the assassination, Ranni remained pretty much absent from the conflict. Some of her forces worked to remove the influence of the Greater Will from the Lands Between, but besides that, she mostly chilled, until the Tarnished arrived, aka us. She first chose herself to give us the Spirit Calling Bell as well as a Spirit Ash, but if the Tarnished journeys up to Caria Manor, we can enlist to serve Ranni in her quest to free the Lands Between from the Greater Will. She needs us to find the Fingerslayer blade in Nokron, as she must kill her own two fingers to free herself from the Greater Will. She then journeys to Noxtella, where she once again enlists our help in order to kill the shadows sent by her two fingers. One of these is Blyad. Upon slaying these beasts, she gives us a key to a chest in Rea Lucaria, which is where a ring lays. This ring is so that we may become her consort. If we choose to become her consort, we will find Ranni beneath the Moonlight Altar, where she is covered in the blood of her own two fingers. If we put the ring on Ranni's finger, we will officially become her consort, and she will tell us of the Age of Stars she wishes to start. It is an age guided by the wisdom of the moon, a chill night that encompasses all. It is an age of fear, doubt, and loneliness that will seem to last. Forever. Despite how dark this ending sounds, it is actually one of the better ones. Ranni's intentions with the Age of Stars are likely twofold. The first is obviously to free the Lands Between and all who live there from influence in general, giving all living beings the ability to choose their own future and path. The second goal is to strengthen those in the Lands Between so that when the Age of Stars does end, they will be independent and strong enough to survive and thrive on their own. Hard times make strong men, and Ranni is essentially forcing a change to hard times in this ending, while giving those strong enough to prevail the opportunity for individualism and success. Honestly, even in this explanation of her ending, I glossed over a lot. So if you want to know about Ranni or her ending, I suggest checking out some of these videos, as they are all great works on the subject. But for now, we need to move on to Rykard. Rykard is a lot more simple, almost as simple as subscribing to this channel. If you've made it this far into the video, you obviously like my content, and if this video does well, there's going to be a lot more Elden Ring content on the way. So you should subscribe if you want to stay up to date for future videos. Or if you just want to like support me, it's one of the best ways to support a channel, you know? Also, if you're interested in seeing me play Elden Ring, I'm going to be playing it pretty much all weekend and next week. That's going to be over at my Twitch, so be sure to check that out as well. Anyway, Rykard is not too unlike Ronnie. He too abandoned the Erdtree, but not until after the Shattering. See, prior to the event, Rykard was a vicious Justicar in favor of the Golden Order. He commanded a company of Inquisitors who persecuted and tortured anyone that was considered heretical by the Golden Order. This Inquisition was centered on Mount Gelmir, as that is where he spent most of his time, and it was also where he found the magma magic from a time-long lost, which he brought back into practice. Rykard was also known for creating the Iron Virgins. And no, I'm not talking about Iron Valorant players, I'm talking about these annoying-ass enemies. What's interesting about Rykard is that it appears that he did develop some sort of beef with the Golden Order prior to the Shattering, as he did aid Ronnie in orchestrating the Night of Black Knives and got a piece of the Rune of Death as thanks. After the Shattering, Rykard launched his blasphemous campaign against the Erdtree and the Greater Will. He took land and gained power by force, which many viewed as justified, drawing many followers in the process who saw his actions as heroic. This would result in a war against Leyendell that would turn into a disgusting, undying war, leading to many of the soldiers becoming cannibals out of desperation and insanity. By far the most notable thing about Rykard, though, was him feeding himself to the Great Serpent which lay below Volcano Manor. This serpent is an old enemy of the Erdtree and convinced Rykard that together they could conquer the tree. This is, of course, not what happened, as after being eaten, he started to degrade, leading to hedonistic depravity as he fed on his own champions and became far more blasphemous than he was before. This would be a post-nut clarity level of turnoff for those who once called Rykard Master, and his forces ultimately abandoned him, one even leaving the Serpent Hunter behind, a weapon that was supposed to be able to slay the ancient snake, allowing someone from the future to slay Rykard. And though many would try it, none would be able to slay the beast until us, if you decide to fight him in your playthrough. And the final demigod of this set is Radahn. Radahn was the eldest of the demigods produced by Radagon and Rennala, and he was born with heroic aspirations. Even from his youth, he was inspired and awed by Godfrey, and in an attempt to emulate the first Elden Lord, Radahn fashioned his armor after lions, as they were the symbol of Godfrey. Despite cherishing strength, Radahn still had a soft side. As he continued to grow, he did not want to abandon his tiny beloved horse Leonard, so he studied and mastered gravitational magic in Celia, allowing him to continue to ride the horse even at his enormous size. This act would also aid Celia later on, as Radahn would use gravitational magic to stop the stars themselves, which would have crashed into Celia Town, destroying it. This feat earned him the moniker of Star Scourge. Radahn also developed his own army known as the Redmanes, and they were known to be among the strongest knights in the lands between, having no weakness. After the Shattering, Radahn would play a major part in the wars that occurred throughout the lands between, using the armies to challenge the other demigods. He would find mixed success in his endeavors, as he would be forced out of Leyendell by Morgott and his army, as we see in the opening cinematic. However, Radahn's biggest loss would come in the form of his stalemate with Malenia, where Malenia was forced to let the Scarlet Aeonia bloom in order to assure she was not defeated. This bloom caused scarlet rot to ravage not only Radahn, but Caelid as a whole. While Radahn's body stayed strong, his mind would not, and he would eventually devolve into little more than an animal scavenging the deserts of Caelid, feasting on his own soldiers and anyone that attempted to challenge him, all while still riding his tiny little horse and holding back the stars. The Festival of Radahn was called together by mighty warriors who wished to see the demigod put out of his misery and to give him an honorable death. And now we come to the final group of demigods, those born from Radagon and Marika. Radagon and Marika had at least two children together, Malenia and Miquella, who were born as twins. These two were born as Empyreans, but they were not in good health, as Marika and Radahn were the same person, so it was basically like god incest. As such, both twins were born afflicted. Malenia was born afflicted with the Scarlet Rot, a flesh-devouring, disease-like affliction that eats away at its victims from the inside out. It cannot be stopped by anything except unalloyed gold, and since unalloyed gold didn't exist at this point, the rot took multiple limbs from Malenia as well as her eyesight. At some point, Malenia encountered a blind swordsman who would become her master and trade Malenia in the way of the blade, allowing her to grow to near peerless strength and teaching her the waterfowl dance that we all know and love.
With the YouTube Music app, you can start a radio station with up to 30 artists. so this isn't really a 100% list every single lore tidbit. And I might even get some stuff wrong, because I'm basing this ranking on the initial impact of the lore. My second favorite thing about FromSoft is that first-time discovery, and how most things have a proper build-up if you're just paying attention. These bosses will be listed in sequential order, but there's also group tiers showing separation between how much I liked each type of reveal. If you haven't finished the Elden Ring DLC and have somehow avoided spoilers till this point, well, then stop watching because this will be spoilery. As a side note, I will only be doing all 10 Remembrance bosses and one other because, well, nobody really cares about the lore of the poison ulcerated avatar of Putrid Tree Spirit.
What? Oh, what are you talking about, man?
So, starting out at number 10 and in our bottom tier is Commander Gaius. This boss doesn't really have much build-up and doesn't have much at all in the lore department. We do know that he trained with Radahn himself before becoming Messmer's second in command, which explains the gravity magic he uses in the fight. Going through the keep, there is some mention of both the commander and his captain, the Twin Blade Knight you fight in the Fork of Reprimand. While we do learn that both Radahn and Gaius learned the gravitational magic from an Alabaster Lord, all this stuff we learn after the fight is done. There's not much build-up or anticipation of this fight, and frankly, I was really surprised this was even counted as a Remembrance boss at all. It feels kind of similar to the Tree Sentinels. Overall, this was the most disappointing of the 10 Remembrance bosses for me and feels kind of like a last-minute boss fight. Now at number 9, this one is easily the Puke Knight, because while this boss does have some build-up and makes sense in the lore, it's easily the most disappointed boss in terms of what could have been. I honestly don't know if I actually expected to fight Saint Trina herself, but even starting on the trailer where you get a ghost telling you about the coffin, you start finding Trina flowers and deep purple flowers, then you find the fissure and start hopping down, only it's blocked off by Mikkel's power because he really doesn't want anyone to fight Saint Trina. Then his great rune power is broken and you get to descend even more. Finally you reach a massive coffin, an epic drop into an arena. And it's this low-res, honestly goofy-looking Walmart orphan of costs that we could have gotten a sleep-themed boss. Honestly, fuck this reveal. Yeah, it's partly Saint Trina since it was Trina's blood nectar which formed the Putrescent Knight, but come on. And even after this, the Saint Trina lore and how it affects the story is so cool. But in terms of just this boss, it's a disappointment. I don't care if we got putrescent slimes in the build-up. It wasn't what I was looking for, and if I'm going to be petty, I will also say the fight, it's boring. And that texture work is some of the worst in the game. Now, moving out of the D don't care tier, we start out in the end not enough info, with everyone's favorite Pontiff reskin Renault. Yeah, as a fight it is cool, and the theming is cool, and the moon drop is cool, and the armor is cool. But this, to me, lore-wise, feels like a Jode Freud. I must have missed in the base game where they mentioned Renala's sister, but even more so, why did the Glintstone-focused dungeon have to have Renala connections? Can't it just be another Glintstone magic user, preferably without one of the worst names a FromSoft boss has ever gotten? Like, really? In terms of build-up, it's really just her castle. You find the talisman that mentions the Twin Moon Knight Relina for the first time, then you get the fight. There's just not enough lore for me to rank this any higher in terms of my first-time experience. After the fight, we learned through equipment and spells that she gave up her lineage to chase after Mesmer because she's a simp, and that she was known as the Sword of Mesmer because she's a simp. She apparently used one of the dueling shields in her combat test to work for Mesmer. Cool, these weapons don't do much for me, but really all it was just an excuse to give us a cool knight versus knight fight. And I love boss fights, but remember, I'm not ranking these based on how much I like the fight, although depending on the boss that can add to it. I feel like on a first playthrough, there's just really not enough given or build-up to make me anticipate or care about this fight. And afterwards, the lore I've learned so far isn't cool enough to get her any higher on the list. But maybe you guys know something I don't. Now we start getting to the good stuff, or the A tier actually good stuff. Starting out with the strangest Undertale crossover you'd ever expect, Flowey. We fight Flowey. The Skadoosh Shadow Tree avatar is kind of the opposite of Relina, in that while there isn't a ton to signify via text that we're going to get this fight, it's more based on knowledge of what we know of how the base game of Elden Ring works. The Erdtree has avatars anywhere that the Healing Tree shows itself. It's got an avatar. Given that we already got both reskin dragon fights and normal-ass ulcerated fights, I was fully expecting to get that Skadoo Tree avatar. We get the tarnished golden sunflowers facing the Shadow Tree just like we have the normal sunflowers facing the Erdtree. When I first found the elevator going down, 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 then this giant open area of dead stems and trees giving a cool view of the Shadow Tree, I actually expected the avatar reskin, I'm not gonna lie. Instead, we get one of the funniest fights FromSoft has ever made. A giant wilted sunflower formed of the essence of the Shadow Tree just starts wailing on us. It's honestly such a perfect image of everything that's wrong and twisted with the Lands of Shadow, while also very comedic. And not only that, its fight is also part of its storytelling. We keep beating it down. It keeps coming back like a weed, fighting harder and harder to stay alive until finally it's too weak to resist anymore. This is the perfect example of a boss you don't expect, but right away it completely makes sense if you've been paying attention. The Divine Beast was kind of like the second poster child of the DLC alongside Mesmer. Early on in DLC interviews, we learned the Divine Beast was from an ancient civilization that resided in the Shadowlands, and that we would learn more about this in the DLC. In the story trailer, we learned what happened to this nation. It got a good dose of Mesmer's flame. The trailers definitely misled me in my expectations for the DLC. I was like, oh, look at the poor lions all strung up with their city burned. Terrible Mesmer, you evil man. Turns out, I'm on Team Mesmer with this one. The Horde are a horrible, horrible people, and what they did to both America and Potlore is inexcusable. The Divine Beast itself is like the Horde's super weapon. When things start going bad, this guy gets sent out to go all kung fu. Going through the Legacy Dungeon, you have a high chance of running into this priestess who hits at the beast but doesn't give much away. This is really the first boss in the DLC with zero ties to the lands between or the Karen or America Radagon line. The fight itself truly does show why this thing was their super weapon. It's a master of the elements, plus its unique martial arts style and the fact that it has two people in a costume, the whole wielding the storm. The Divine Beasts are messengers, almost like oracles for these people who worship the storm. And after the fight, you get the head of the beast, and from here, FromSoft does that thing where they make you feel like a genius for doing the obvious. In this case, it's equipping the dancer mask before talking to the priestess again to get even more context and lore. Now, I will say, out of all the cosmic lore in Elden Ring, and believe me when I say fantasy mixed with cosmos is my favorite genre, but out of everything with Rani and the moon, the fallen star beasts, any of the outer god stuff, the last thing I really cared about getting more lore on was the fingers and the finger spiders. That being said, this does give us answers to stuff from the base game, which FromSoft rarely does in their DLC. And the setup and payoff for this boss is just masterclass. I initially stumbled across the first fingerprint runes on my own, but for some reason I figured it had to do with madness, so I left it till later. I then found the church that truly starts the quest. The best part about this whole event is that at first, Ymir is saying all the right things. This Outer Gods thing isn't working, we need a reset, Miracle was right, blah 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 blah. So I'm like, hell yeah, let's help this guy and start things over. But then he sends you out to the fingerprint ruins, and it's like, well, there sure is a lot of finger creepers around here. And well, the base game didn't really have much of a lore and were kind of placed randomly. But here we have the hands and giant finger graves. There's also this amazing cosmic music that really hits the notes really out there feel. So you saw in the morning he tells you to do it again. Being able to reach the second fingerprint ruins is a different story though. It's hidden behind a statue of America. America was bound to the greater will by her fingers, wasn't she? Why are we going to the Fingerland to blow on a finger? How is this going to usher in a different age? Well, neat little touches outside the church, there's a grave for a child named Yuri who died young. Perhaps by becoming the book of fingers, Ymir hopes to close the book with the closing a child or something. Either way, he's not really changing anything. Actually meeting the source of all the fingers who pop up everywhere, plus just the amazing boss ring with these tubes, which I assume are either the bottom of the fingers or like the way that the fingers are able to go to different places. Mater herself is the daughter of the Greater Will, and was the first alien being to arrive at the lands between, so she really is like the first foothold of the Greater Will. But she was abandoned by the Greater Will at some point, so I guess she's not that important. Everything about Mater, from the quest to unlock her, to the amazing reveal of the form of the Mother of Fingers, it's all examples for why FromSoft is the top dog when it comes to crafting lore and environmental storytelling. At number 4, I'm gonna put Radon, Consort of Mechlin. Look, if we just fought Radon Prime, this might be like number 9 or 10, because personally, I don't really get all that much out of Radon. I would so much rather have a new fight than just do that annoying anime fight them in their prime trope. And the whole reason that generally doesn't happen is because the fans of the games aren't the ones making them. But I guess those people did get what they wanted in life. And look, Radon was always one of the main characters of Elden Ring. From the very first trailer, we knew it was going to be about Radon, Melania, and Radagon America. What makes this boss cool to me is also kind of petty though. See, I called Mikola being an evil little shit from the start. So many people were like defending Mikola. Oh, he likes the animals. Oh, he's kind. Oh, people love him. He wants to help his sister. He was abducted. Do you guys not play FromSoft games? It's always the kindest, nicest, most tender people that end up sucking. I mean, Mikola literally could become Saint Trina, much like Merrick and Radagon, Except St. Trina was all about forcing people to worship her and sleep against their will. If that's not creepy, I don't know what is. If you beat the DLC, you know the story beats of this boss fight. It's the most direct storytelling perhaps ever done in Elden Ring. Mo wasn't a pedo. Mikola mind controlled him so he could use Mogu's body to bring back Radon in his prime to be his consort, blah blah blah. Does the Radon stuff make sense in the context of the base game? On my first playthrough it didn't, and it still doesn't to me now. But at least for me, the other stuff about Mikola, his shedding, his body, his feelings, St. Trina, the reveal of what an evil little prick Mikola is, I love it. So while this might be the most direct FromSoft has ever been, the lore still hits right mostly, and I can largely ignore the Radon bullshit because everything around it is so cool. Now we hit the S tier stuff, and a third for me is Midra, Lord of the Frenzied Flame. If you ever needed a perfect example of FromSoft's show, don't tell design, it's Midra. You're exploring it too, you reach the boss. What the hell is this? An underground forest? And a whole other zone? The boss hints at some secret vault beyond. You enter the woods, messages everywhere.
I think I'm at the final boss, guys.
You need to hide. You need to run. It's madness time. The forest is empty, lonely, scary. Torrent literally will not be summoned. You have to explore this massive, pretty much empty labyrinth on foot until finally in the distance you see signs of life. A mansion. But the closer you get, the more ruined it looks. At this point, you're asking yourself, what the hell happened here? In front of the manse are a bunch of headless corpses with golden branches on their necks, almost like a warning, stay away. But that's not what we do in these games. So we enter the ruined manse, everything is burnt and destroyed, there's nothing left to salvage. A voice warns us away. You find a picture of the front of the manse, but it's bright, there's light, flowers. What happened? What caused this? You probe deeper into the mansion. Another painting of a Wolver's wife. They look normal. Further in, you find the corpse of the wife. She does not look normal. Her name is Nana Yana Yana, and the item she drops, a torch, reveals that the owner of this manse once failed to become the Lord of the Frenzied Flame. Probing just a little deeper, and we reach said man, Midra. The word failed is used, but Midra absolutely has the ability to ascend to lordship. His failure.
This is really crazy. Oh my. Oh, okay, Radon. That wasn't very nice. But I'm dead. I'm dead anyway. Okay. Okay.
Excuse me, English or Spanish? Spanish. La primera que se mueva gusta My Hero Academia.
Baby, you got something in your nose. Sniffing that K, did you feel the whole?
Excuse me, English or Spanish? Spanish.
Boom, 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 sa, y papasajito. Oh, that was a bad idea. Okay. Wow. Doing a lot of damage to Radon though. I see. I like that. She's just done that like what I just had to do. Bruh. I can't even get time to summon. Maybe you got something you could know. No way I didn't dodge that. I'm fucked. Okay, I don't know his moveset like that, so you might just have to fucking go for the summon and then try to dodge that. That's gonna be a pain. Oh. I was like, where the fuck did he go? Damn. Mimic, you're supposed to be hitting him, man. You're a bozo.
Because you just want to be a asshole.
You're right.
Then why the would you be in this competition,
Here.
bone face? You
Why do you look 50 and you're 24?
What? What did he say? Because you just want to be a
Think, Mark. You'll outlast every fragile, insignificant being on this planet. You'll live to see this world crumble. Think, Mark. You'll outlast every fragile, insignificant being on this planet. You'll live to see this world crumble. Think, Mark. You'll outlast every fragile, insignificant being on this planet. You'll live to see this world crumble. Think, Mark. You'll outlast every fragile, insignificant.
Oh no! Dang. Muquilla.
Oh.
Oh shit.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Mimic tier? That would have been good if you attacked before, you know? Instead of watching me get freaking messed up right there, dang.
Let's make Palestinian stuffed arayis. This is a cheesy, spicy version that you have to give it.
That was pretty gay. Alright. Oh, I fucked up. Yeah, I fucked up.
So many weapons in this game.
Alright guys, today we'll take a look at 15 of the best weapons in Shadow of the Erdtree. This is in no particular order and specifically for PvE. We're going to focus on the non-boss remembrance weapons, and it's going to go over the ones you can most easily find but also get the most out of in terms of either movesets or weapon skills. Now, the first weapon I wished more people talked about is the Greatsword of Solitude. Despite being possibly the heaviest greatsword in the game, its moveset is actually really fast. It also comes with a very versatile skill, which is the Solitary Moon Slash, so you don't just get a, well, projectile attack here, but also a backup that you follow up. So the damage of the projectile initially is not the highest, but your follow-up heavy is going to do most of the work here. It's outright bullying, especially against many of the shield enemies, and has almost the same spin swipe hit animation that knocks out enemies through their shields, just like your running light attack with the same greatsword. Its most unique aspect, of course, is also its very high default physical damage negation. It's pretty much 89, and you also get a 58 into guard boost. So it's literally better than most shields out there, which is why it might explain its higher weight than most normal weapons, because you literally have one of the best greatswords in the game, which also couples as a very awesome shield. So in the DLC, you can use a deflecting hearts tier, which is literally going to make you unstoppable and give you some of the best guard countering in the game. Another one I was extremely surprised by is the Claw of Night. Well, first of all, because claws are just amazing in the game. They have really fast damage, they have really fast moves. This is a pure dex scaling weapon, by the way, so it gets really into that. But it also comes with a 45 into clean build up. So despite the a
Dang.
lower build-up, its scattershot throw skill seems to trigger that extremely often. It seems to be a status effect triggering machine which is going to cause bleed build-up almost every other shot at most. And that's because of the shotgun-like effect hit that absolutely pierces through enemies. And it also seems to deal very good damage even at a decent range. It also gets boosted by the smithing talisman, by the way, from the DLC, since its damage counts as a thrown weapon. Also, its charged heavy can be backstabbed out of without interrupting the hit, so if you want to like dodge an incoming attack but don't want to sacrifice while interrupting your attack, you can still press circle during that charge animation and your character is just going to do a step back followed by a hit. For the next couple of spots, we have the Death Knight Great Axe as well as the Death Knight Twin Axe, so they kinda both function similarly. They have the Bling Bolt ability, which comes with a very nice follow-up. But the Bling Bolt specifically is really awesome. You pretty much have 3 iframes, it triggers super fast, travels really far too, and like I said, follow-up is both strong as well as very fun. This is like one of the funnest weapons in the DLC. Damage is not too bad either, however in the case of the Great Axe you do get some leg armor, while in the case of the Twin Axes you basically don't get any or very little. So it's very easy to wrap yourself up with Twin Axes if that's the one like.
Yo, Mimic Tier, I really need you to do something, bro. Mimic Tier. Where's my Mimic Tier at? Come on, Mimic Tier, hit him. Oh my god, Mimic Tier, hit him. Mimic Tier, bro. Mimic Tier, bro. You have a long range spell, man. Hit him. Fuck. Yeah. Doesn't matter how much I fucking heal. Jesus fucking Christ. Why is my Mimic Tier just standing there when I'm being attacked? I don't really understand why my Mimic Tier was just standing there.
So the
But
stagger damage is really great. You also have the guard counter, which is really good. And it's best coupled with a Lion's Claw. Now, previously I used Savage Lion's Claw for the faster hits, but the basic Lion's Claw might be the best option, specifically because it's much better and deals much higher stance damage. It's also one of the weapons with a really good physical negation, pretty much 80, so it can work as a shield, and having this coupled with a deflecting tier once again. For our next weapon we have the Milady, so this is a light great sword which pairs...
no, that was dumb. Mimic Tier is not really helpful too much. Barely doing anything. God.
really well with its wing stance.
I just wish my Mimic Tier would actually hit it, like when I actually needed to. You know, because I wish like Marcus would stop being a bitch and hop another. But you know, he
Like a dick, nigga. How about that?
No, how about you suck a dick, nigga?
that it should come with by default, but for some reason it does not. So this, when coupled with the wing stance, yeah, the range and the damage on this is really good. First of all, because the wing stance heavy reaches enemies way further away than you might think. So it's a poke attack, pierce damage, which actually reaches enemies
That's not what they want to
away,
do.
and it can oftentimes exceed 5,000 damage that I've tested. Compared to some of the other builds, it can actually be some really, really great numbers. Also, it's a great status builder, specifically because of its arm on chain during the wing stance. So this can actually work really well with a community as well. You kind of get about 83 death, so about like 3-4 hits, so 2 rounds of death, and pretty much what it calls a low loss rock. So this actually will work really well with the Rotomus or Insignia, the Orlana Talisman as well, power stance damage, but you can also work with some of the other green other talismans in here. For the next one we have
Oh, we're going to get my move to your heals. I gotta do that. Wait, why is he not? Wait, what the fuck? Why wasn't he taking damage right there? Why? Okay. Okay, I mean, that was kind of dumb, but now I'm gonna give my Mimicry some heals so he doesn't get fucking raped like that. Jesus Christ. Doesn't matter, I don't have infinite heals once I get it.
blades. So just like in the case of Milady, this also shines when coupled with its accompanying Ash of War, in this case, the Blight.
Okay, that wasn't too bad. I should have went up and attacked him, to be honest. I think that gives me a free opportunity to. Honestly, I wish I could make the flame do more damage. I could, but I'll take more damage. And I don't know if I really need that. Okay, probably should have just dodged there. Sad.
So blind spot is what makes this so amazing. It's pretty much iframes, very instant, very fast, a good reposition, and a very good way actually to completely counter many of the toughest challenges at the beginning of the DLC.
And you can still imbue your weapon if you don't put it with like a mag.
Breathe. Breathe. Like a baby. Breathe. Breathe. So what will I be doing? Oh, okay. No way. Fuck. Dang. If I was actually able to dodge right there, that would have been good. But it did a lot more damage that time. That was pretty gay. You're pretty gay, Marcus. You're a faggot. Oh, now it's actually starting to one-shot me. I might have to take this armor off. Or I'm gonna have to dodge that. And then summon. I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. Dodge summon.
Full affinity, so you can totally put like a blood flame blade on it and deal some nice damage with a build like that. It might not give you the highest burst, but it keeps you so safe.
Alright. I know what I'm gonna do. We'll dodge his attack first, then summon. And then... Now you want to come over here? I don't get it. Now you want to come over here, huh? That's pretty gay.
During these moments that it's very easy to basically just steamroll through the DLC. And despite its position when held, it doesn't suffer on its weapon reach. So even if you go with a bleed or status effect, you can still use the regular jump and the run animations from the curved swords and Crocoton of Bleed. Moving on, next, of course, we have the Ancient Meteoric or Great Sword. So this is the go-to arcane melee weapon in the DLC that doesn't actually use any bleed build-up. So its arcane scaling, despite being rather poor, or at least appearing poor on the weapon card, it actually provides a substantial damage increase. First of all, it buffs physical damage as well to a certain degree, not just the magic damage, but it's going to buff your weapon skill the most. This is the one that benefits the most out of it, and this is how you can easily reach over 5k damage on it. Plus, of course, that's only on the follow-up explosion, so the initial stab is like another 3,000 easily. It's also a great gap closer, it's great at stance breaking enemies, and which is a really great AR when using it out of spec and arcane build. Plus, did I mention how absolutely awesome it looks? This thing is seriously something that everybody's top tier list. For the next one, we have the Dragon Hunter Great Katana, a great quality build weapon, and despite having a special effect, no, it does not scale arcane or anything besides strength and dexterity. Even its weapon skill scales off the critical level. Now, the Dragon Moon Slash is its special weapon art. The damage on this and the way the skill works is pretty much the ultimate dragon card counter. Some people might not like the fact that this moveset is like a follow-up, but this really brought the fight where it truly
No way! Come on! Why didn't you get the... Wow, Mimic Tier, really? You're just standing there while I'm getting attacked? Wow. Mimic Tier is goated. He just stood there.
So adding something like Shard of Alexander and
Like I'm literally getting
icons
attacked.
and
Punish it,
specifically
bro.
charged attack will boost that damage really nicely. Second of all, because of the jump animation and the way it angles, it's perfectly suited to constantly aim at the enemy's upper body,
Oh, that's
especially
pretty good.
their heads. The biggest problem against dragons is usually their height as well as many ground AoEs, while this weapon skill literally just bypasses both of those problems while letting you deal a ton of damage in style. This is how I managed to defeat Bale, by the way, on my first try with this weapon, besides the fact that my other builds were kind of struggling with it really hard. Now moving on, next we have the Sword of the Night, and I'm not going to lie, I wished that I loved this a bit more, because I mean the way it looks is absolutely amazing, and I'm hearing some mixed opinions on its damage. Well, I kinda tend to fall in the category that doesn't like it that much in terms of the damage it deals. So the skill on it is called the Witching Hour Slash. It looks really cool, it's not like the worst
I thought I
skill in the
dodged
game,
that.
but it's very easy to interrupt. It has a very long wind up, kinda like all the other stance attacks, of course. Plus, you can't really move too far away from it, so you're kind of stationary. And there are other skills in the game that are much better and the multi-hit of multi-hit build up. It does benefit from multi-hit talismans like the Rotten Wing Sword as well as Instant Prosthesis and also some of the bleed build up staple gear, but of course you're going to need quite a bit to make the most out of it and pulling up its damage. And you are kind of tied to paying attention to
Oh,
enemies'
fuck.
sets and finding the perfect opening to actually unleash the full charge of attack. In the meantime, you're kind of stuck in just doing its quicker release, which deals less hits and less damage, and as such, lower bleed buildup, which is already low on this weapon at only 45. In my personal opinion, I think that this could go with a buff in one of the upcoming patches. Moving on, next we have the Anvil Hammer. Now this isn't the worst colossal weapon in the game. It comes with a faith scaling that's so good that it basically, just boosts the fire as well as the physical damage on the weapon, which is what lets this weapon reach higher attack ratings than most other weapons. This does not necessarily translate in higher DPS because of the way and the limited range of the way the Astral War works, but it's actually really fun to pull off when it does work. Its weapon art is called Smithing Art Spear. It behaves almost like an eruption, except that the follow-up is a bunch of spikes that emerge from the ground, and they can actually take 2 times extra damage
Did I
if the
hit?
spark gets lingering inside the AoE. So if you do manage to hit enemies properly with the entire hit, you're going to eventually stun them relatively easily. However, there are some limitations to this weapon, so it's very easy to miss with the weapon art. It's also very easy to get locked into perpetual weapon art animations, especially if you press the buttons just slightly too fast. Like, this is the only weapon in the DLC that I noticed this problem with. Moving on to the next one, we have the Barbed Staffed Spear, another weapon giving some love to holy builds in the DLC, though this one is a bit more unique. So its skill, called Jory's Inquisition, unleashes a high number of rapid holy arcs that can also stack bleed build-up on targets. So the weapon comes with about 55 bloodlust build-up by default, but it seems it's not only...
What the fuck, bro? I let it dodge. Come on, I dodged.
It's physical attacks that can cause it, but also its weapon art. So this actually couples really well with a shield. It is a great spear, so it's going to give you a really good range while you're over there protecting yourself or doing guard counters. Which, by the way, guard counters deal some nice poise damage, so typically you're going to stun most regular enemies right away. And this is typically the point I recommend using the weapon's special ability, the Jory's Inquisition, when casted from the... going to mostly aim all of its attacks straight to the enemy's face to get the bonus damage, quick bleed build up, if they even survive by that point, and I mean, the actual war does not consume that much resource in terms of FP and stamina. You can still spam it from afar if you want to, but the tracking range and area of cover are not going to be the best, plus some enemies can dodge some of them. For the next one, we have the Fire Knight Greatsword. It's one of the best greatswords and possibly one of the best weapons in the DLC for both PvE and PvP. So this gets excellent damage with a Flame Arc affinity and...
Okay. It's really hard to get the initials if I keep dying. Not dying, but the loading time takes forever.
I'm the developer of the game, The Tower. I wanted to make a tower defense game that had nearly
So you want to be a mage in Elden Ring Shadow of the Ages. Is that really true though? Embracing the shadows means we have now more options than at this game. I made 15 sorceries and one was talking about. And let's start off with that because it is something else.
Fuck.
See, it does absolutely nuclear damage, and you can grab it right away when you enter the little C zone. Convenient, right? Remember carrying Ranger from the base game? I did some videos about that too. Well, this is that, but on many steroids, and it has a follow-up now, in the form of a horizontal destructive slash. But aside from the insane damage, it deals absolutely ridiculous voice damage too. Stands breaking bosses like it's nothing. Let's take a main boss from Shadow of the Erdtree, for example. No spoilers, of course, because yeah, it's still early, but I censored everything here. But let me just show you it on a prolific boss of the DLC. If you land both the hit and the follow-up, it just shreds them to pieces and can also stance break them at the same time. And here, another example of a late-game Shadow of the Erdtree boss. Yeah, it's just... And it comes with really good hyper armor too, so even while you're getting beat up left and right, you don't care about all of that. You just keep conjuring your big blue magical sword for annihilation. How do you get this though? Is it going to require an entire quest line and do 8 million things? No, you want to go to the Mage Valhalla, basically, of the Shadow of the Erdtree, which is very easy reachable. It's this region, the part with the Cathedral of Manus Mythir, and where it looks like there's a huge pool party going on, and there is. You want to bypass Castle Ensis for this like this, as drawn out on the map. If you want to see the full walkthrough in addition to the map here, check my other videos where I also showed you this skip as well. The link for that will be in the description, as for now we have no time to waste. In the Skadu Altus region, you basically want to...
Marcus is a bitch. And he knows Marcus is a bitch. Anyone should know that Marcus is a bitch. Marcus is a bitch. Marcus is a bitch. I'm dead. Yeah. Yeah, it has to be the beginning I summon him. I just gotta somehow stay alive. No fucking way.
Now fuck that bitch, I need trillion. Now fuck that bitch, I need that.
No. No, come on. Bro, I'm talking to myself, bro. Don't mind me. Fuck. So gay, man. This guy just doesn't give me a chance to breathe. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Right next to the Morph Rune side of Grace, you have to basically just...
I really don't want to go run the map grabbing all these fragments, bro. Okay, I didn't think. What the fuck? You don't ever do that attack. I'm so confused. Why did he do it now? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And I did like no damage. Just better off giving me the other one. At the Pokemon. Okay.
Crawl through the cracks of these ruins till you get out again on the other.
If I could really just get to the second phase, I'll be good, because I know my strategy. But this is really, like, really being a pain in the ass to get back to the second phase.
You dare waking me up from my nap? You little worm. What's going on?
Jesus Christ. Look at that damage. Look at that damage.
Where Paul at? I'll come back later.
Who's Paul? Dang.
Uy, hermano, mi visión del futuro. El futuro es nuestro.
In this Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree video, we're going to be going over a full guide on how to beat Radahn, Concert of Miquella. This is definitely the hardest FromSoft boss I've ever fought out of every Souls-like they've done in the past 15 years. He has fast movesets, insane AoEs, and even an almost impossible to dodge attack. It goes without saying that you should not ignore leveling your Scottish fragments all the way to 20 if you have to, as this is the final boss in the DLC. The trick to this boss is fighting as close as you possibly can for the entire questline, you should be able to summon both him and Ansbach for this fight. But keep in mind that Radahn's HP will scale super high if you summon both at the same time. For talismans, I recommend Dragon Crest Great Shield for physical negation, Fine Crucible Feather Talisman for a special backstep on the impossible to dodge attack, and Golden Braid for holy negation. To start off, when you enter the arena, he's almost always going to do this rush attack that stops you from using summons or buffing up after you enter. So keep in mind if you're buffing up, try to do it before you enter, and if you're trying to summon, try to do it after you dodge his attack. You can dodge this initial attack by dodging into it at the last second, and then you can get about a heavy attack damage in afterwards. His basic and most common combo is the following. A right foot stomp into an overhead sword slash, into a quick double sword sweep, into an overhead sword slash, and then a ground explosion. He uses this move a bunch throughout the fight, so it's definitely worth learning the timing. Dodge after a delay when he does the right foot stomp, then after another delay, dodge twice in succession, then dodge 2 more times, both with the delay, the overhead, and the ground explosion. You should kind of be dodging into Radahn for all of these with a slight deviation to the left and right. It's worth noting that after you roll that quick double attack, there is actually a small opening for exactly one light attack with most weapons, so try to get that damage in if you can. He has one other super long combo. He'll start with a right sword sweep, then do a left sword attack, a fast double sweep, another fast double sweep, and then one more delayed attack. For this combo, roll the first attack, then dodge after a very slight delay for the left sword sweep, then delay your next 3 dodges for his 3 double sweep attacks. Again, there is an opening between the 4th and 5th hit for exactly one light attack where you can get some damage in, and after dodging it all, you can get one heavy attack in. Sometimes he won't do that final delayed attack, so keep that in mind when you're dodging this. Those 2 combos are his bread and butter, but he has a few other difficult moves as well. To start, let's go over the infamous cross slash attack. When you heal at the wrong time or attack with blade, Radahn will often use this move where he attacks 2 times in succession with his blades into a final cross slash. This attack is actually basically impossible to dodge when you have no item given, requiring very perfect timing and altitude positioning to avoid it. That being said, after doing some testing, there are a few ways to counter it. You can dodge it normally with frame perfect timing, block it with a shield, parry it, or use the fine feather talisman to get items on backsteps, and dodge it with an early backstep, quick dodge, and then a delayed roll. If you didn't parry, after he finishes the combo, you can get a heavy attack in. I definitely think this is going to get nerfed in the foreseeable future, but for now, these were the best options I tested. Another 3-hit combo with his sword starts with an overhead right swing, and after a slight delay, he does 2 sweeps in succession. If you dodge this, you can only get 1 light attack in before his next move. One more super short 2-hit combo is his right sweep into a double sword left sweep. Despite this attack being relatively easy to dodge compared to others, it has a massive
Maybe I should just go for that. Not go for range. Like you said, don't go for range. Go for be close up. Come on. Okay. Also a great start.
Enter, and if you're trying to summon, the basic and most common combo is the following. A right foot stomp into an overhead sword slash into a quick double sword sweep. Crest Great Shield for enter. And you can get about a heavy attack with damage in afterwards. His basic and most common combo is the following. A right foot stomp into an overhead sword slash into a quick double sword sweep into an overhead sword slash and then a ground explosion. He uses this move a bunch throughout the fight, so it's definitely worth learning the timing. Dodge after a delay when he does the right foot stomp, then after another delay, dodge twice in quick succession, then dodge 2 more times, both with a delay for the overhead and the ground explosion. You should kind of be dodging into Radahn for all of these with a slight deviation to the left and right. It's worth noting that
God fucking damn it, bro.
We'll start with a right sword sweep, then do a left sword attack, a fast double sweep, another fast double sweep, and then one more delayed attack. For this combo, roll the first attack, then dodge after a very slight delay for the left sword sweep, then delay your next 3 dodges for his 3 double sweep attacks. Again, there is an opening between the 4th and 5th hit for exactly 1 light attack where you can get some damage in, and after dodging it all, you can get 1 heavy attack in. Sometimes he won't do that final delayed attack, so keep that in mind when you're dodging this. Those 2 combos are his bread and butter, but he has a few other difficult moves as well. To start, let's go over the intro.
Blade, guy killed it, he can't move.
Miss cross slash attack. When you heal at the wrong time or attack too late, Radon will often use this move where he attacks 2 times in succession with his blades, then do a final cross slash. This attack is actually basically impossible to dodge when you have no added gimmicks, requiring frame perfect timing and altitude positioning to avoid it. That being said, after doing some testing, there are a few ways to counter it. You can dodge it normally with frame perfect timing, block it with a shield, parry it, or use the Fine Crucible Feather Talisman to get iframes on backsteps, and dodge it with an early backstep into a quick dodge and then a delayed roll. If you didn't parry, after he finishes the combo, you can get a heavy attack in. I definitely think this is going to get nerfed in the foreseeable future, but for now, these were the best options I tested. Another 3-hit combo with his sword starts with an overhead right sweep, and after a slight delay, he does 2 sweeps in quick succession. He dodges, he can only get 1 light attack in before his next
Fuck.
One more super short 2-hit combo is his right sweep into a double sword left sweep. Despite this attack being relatively easy to dodge compared to others, it has a massive window where you can land a heavy attack if you dodge this correctly. Next he has something kind of like a grab. He'll slowly lift his swords up, slash them upwards, then after a delay slash them back down. If you get hit by the first attack, you get launched into the air and hit by his downward slash, so learn the timing for this one, and don't forget to dodge the second hit after dodging the first. When the boss is far away from you, sometimes he'll do a jumping attack. For this attack, he'll jump up and do a roll in the air, and crash down with both of his swords. He has a chance to jump again, and then do one more jumping attack. Either way, if you correctly dodge this, you can get 1 heavy attack in afterwards. If you find yourself having trouble with his random second attack, 1 light attack after his first, as that will give you some time to roll if he does the second move. Next up, he also has a Blood Flame attack. This attack is actually very easy to avoid once you know the trick to dodging it. First, dodge the initial thrust by dodging into him, and then sprint behind him to get 1 light attack in. By going behind him, you avoid both his slash attack and the aftershock explosion, and can even get 1 light attack in. Just make sure you end up directly behind him, as the explosion will hit you if you're on his side. Lastly, for the basic moves, he has a retreating attack where he does a cross slash.
No, stop.
Most of the time it's safe to do a light attack right
Fuck.
after, but I've had a few occasions where I got punished for it, so it's probably not worth it to attack, and you should probably just wait after you dodge. Moving on to the gravity moves, let's start with his gravity meteor move. This attack actually has 3 hits in the combo. First when he slashes his swords down, then when he slashes upwards and rises, and lastly the ranged meteors. If you're too close to him initially, dodge twice in quick succession, dodge the first 2 slashes. For the meteors, run away in the opposite direction until the meteors get close, then run to the left or right and then jump. His other gravity move sucks you in, and he either does a grab move or a special gravity. You can roll the initial pull by dodging with good timing, but if you do get pulled, it's actually pretty easy to avoid damage. You can just spam roll away from him to dodge either the gravity AoE or the grab attack. In the second phase though, you definitely want to dodge that initial pull, as the following attacks are really difficult to dodge. Moving on to phase 2, you'll start this phase at around 60% health, fencing with any status effects and stopping all attacks with a cutscene. For this phase, all of his attacks will summon an AoE of holy beams in front of Radon, and he gets a bunch of absolutely disgusting combos that will knock just about anyone into the 14th dimension the first time they see him. 90% of the time, the first thing he'll do is summon a giant AoE of holy damage. Before he
No, heal.
The slightest delay, so make sure you run in a straight line as fast as you can, or avoid it with something like that wrist, or block it with a good mitigating shield like the side skip ratio. This phase is an excellent phase one haven't actually changed too much. His bread and butter combos have the exact same timing.
Oh my god, I didn't think you're gonna attack me.
For every attack, like I mentioned in phase one, and you can be hit by a single thing. This also applies for the usual AoE places his ground explode. Just roll into it and won't take any damage. He also gets one new combo that has the exact same timing.
It didn't heal me. I pressed the heal button first. I pressed the heal button. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the fuck that was, but I definitely pressed heal. Wow. I did all that just for it to not work. I had a good run too. That's so dumb. I pressed heal. I pressed it. And it didn't. Goated. Jesus fucking Christ. This is really annoying. I think I'm gonna stop for now. Bro.